The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Tuesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends up in the top right-hand corner of the screen right there. Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we'll continue that today as we have another player profile like we always do. That's the way we go the extra mile. Is we have player profiles featured on this show. We try to do every day. Player profiles, coaches' corners, shining a light on all the great people that are involved in athletics across the YSN family. So today we will feature a player profile from the boys' side over on Canfield Basketball. Junior Ben Weaver, Dream Weaver, game changer, as the headline of the article says on ysnlive.com. Can't wait for you guys to hear this interview with Ben Weaver. If you haven't heard it already, it's a great conversation with the Canfield Junior about this run they're on. Two-time AAC champion, back-to-back now. We talk about that. We talk about being under Coach Collin and what kind of motivation it is to be coached by a legend of not just the school, but a legend, I think anyone would argue, in the whole basketball community in the area. I think there are not too many basketball coaches that could not say that they have been impacted, taught, or in some way informed by Coach John Collin. So anyway, we crazy comments on YouTube. I think it's a robot, but anyway, so that is what we have in store today. We are also going to jump into tournament time. Tournament time for girls basketball starts tomorrow in divisions 2, 3, and 4. 1 is already underway, and they will be in their sectional finals on Thursday. So since tomorrow is kind of Wrestling Wednesday, and that show has already been slated, we're going to talk about the tournament time for divisions 2 and 3 and 4 today. So we're going to kind of preview the tournament as it gets kicked off tomorrow. And then Thursday, we'll dial it back on Thursday and go back to Division 1, since Thursday's sectional finals in Division 1 are going to be right there. So it'll make more sense to do Division 1 on Thursday. So let's hop into the Northeast database. We're going to be here for a while today because there's a lot to talk about. Like I said, Division 1 we will talk about Thursday, before their sectional finals. So let's hop to Division 2. If you're unaware of any Northeast database, it's NEDAB. It's the same. You're going to get the same things as you'll get in the WHSA website. I just find it easier to navigate because it's your district right there. You don't have to scroll through all the brackets of all the whole state. So I go here. It'll get you to the same place. So Division 2, Northeast 1, and this is the district that will be held in Woodridge, the Woodridge district. Sorry, it took me a while to get that. But here's how it's going to shape up. Tomorrow it all starts. We're going to have Ursuline, who is the 22 seed. They're going up against Kinston, the 50 seed. Now, I know a lot of seedings wise, you look at this and you think, well, Ursuline's going to be um, in this, and they're going to be fine, which I think they will be in this game. I think they're the better roster on paper for sure. But the thing that scares me about Kinston, and it always scares me about Kinston, no matter what seed they are, especially talking Division 2, these seeds can get kind of wonky. Um, they're a team that they have winning traditions, right? So they just, yeah, I never count those teams down and out. So kind of a shaky game for me, but Ursuline's got the better record, better resume, better roster. This should be get out for Ursuline, I think, pretty quick. That's going to be tomorrow at 7 in Ursuline. The winner is going to go on to travel to Edgewood. Now, Edgewood's a team, as we talk about, this bracket, they have been kind of left out of the district conversation because they've run into really good teams. West Branch the last 2 years beat them out of the tournament, and they've not been able to make a run that really is fit for how good they've been, right? And this year's one of the best years record-wise they've had. I mean, last year they were good, but they didn't win the conference. And they had Casey Kanicki, who was one of the best scorers that we had in the Ysn family last year, period. This year, they're a little bit more balanced. They don't have the one scorer that's averaging 26 per game, but they have a couple of players averaging double figures. They play much better defense, I think, this year. I think this is a culmination of, one, really good coaching, because Randy Vinsel is an excellent coach in Edgewood. But two, I think sometimes when you lose the player that has been doing so much for you and bearing so much of the weight, it forces everyone that is left to find a way. I think you saw this if you're an NFL fan, the year that Calvin Johnson retired from the NFL. That next year, Matt Stafford had one of his best statistical seasons of his career. Because when you're playing with Calvin Johnson, Megatron, you're going to be forcing things to him because it's just he's that good. You're going to be magnetized to just force things to Calvin Johnson. You lose that balance a little bit. You kind of forget that other receivers are there. Now, Casey Kanicki's your Megatron. She graduated. And now everyone else isn't standing and watching anymore. They're getting involved in the offense. They're being aggressive. They realize they have to be. And I think that's why you're seeing the offense be much more dynamic this year, really much more balanced than it was a year ago. Last year they had Casey Kanicki averaging 26, Keenan McCollister averaged 11, and then after that it was no one in double figures. Quite frankly, no one close. This year they have multiple players in double figures, and then they have a couple of players that are dang close to double figures. So it's a much more balanced offense, and I think those results are also getting you a lot more effort on defense, which I think is statistically one of the better defenses that Edgewood has had in the last several seasons since they've been a part of the Ysn family, of course. So excited for this matchup. I think Ursuline's going to win this sectional semi against Kinston. They would go to Edgewood. It would be very interesting because Ursuline has the edge scheduling. Like that's cut and dry. Ursuline plays a better schedule. I think that's clear. But Edgewood has beaten really good teams this year. They've beaten Madison. They've beaten Perry. They went to South Range, beat South Range in the Thriller Dome. But what scares me about that matchup is I think inevitably Ursuline's going to have a good stretch. They're going to take a lead. And we saw Edgewood come back from a pretty big deficit at South Range, granted, but they haven't been in that situation a ton. They haven't played a ton of close games, a ton of games where they've had to come back from a deficit. So if they do end up having to face some adversity in this Ursuline game, I am interested to see how it would go. Of course, Ursuline hasn't gotten there yet. They have to take care of business. I think they will. I think it'll be Edgewood Ursuline in that sectional final. We'll definitely see. That game would be Saturday in Edgewood. All right, we go to the next semifinal, and it does not involve Ysn teams, but it's Lutheran East against St. Martin. We scroll down to the other end of that district, and we get Franciscan against Aurora. The one thing I want to say about this, because this is going to be the side that our YSN teams are going to have to deal with in districts if they get to the semifinals. I think Aurora down there is a very dangerous team, sitting at the 15 seed. If numbers play out, it would be Edgewood versus Aurora in the semifinals. But Aurora is just one of those teams that they were D1 for so long, and they dropped down to D2. They were a small D1 team. But because of the conference they play in and because of that schedule layover from dropping down divisions, they still play a schedule that's built for a D1 basketball team. They're very tested. They have a lot of talent. We've seen them a couple of times on YSN this year. I just that Aurora team scares me in this top half of the district. I think they're going to get to the district semifinals. I don't think anyone down here is going to really test them. I don't, Lutheran East, I don't buy them all that much, to be honest. I think Aurora is a better team. So if Aurora gets to the district, that's going to be a sneaky, very dangerous 15 seed. We go to the bottom half of this district, which once again will be held in Woodridge. And Glenville is the team that has the bye. YSN team Jefferson down there, they're going to play Crestwood. And that will be a game in Jefferson, a very interesting 24 versus 32. And I believe these two teams have played this year already. It's one of those old school rivalries. They used to play each other quite a bit, Jefferson and Crestwood. I'm going to give Jefferson a little bit of the edge here. One, because they're a YSN team, and I'm a company man. Go YSN teams. But also, it's home. It's in Jefferson. It's notoriously a tough place to play. So, and Mia Contenza has really started to have a good second half of the season for the Falcons. Gilmore Academy is in the bottom of this district. They have the bye. They will await the winner of Fairview and Alliance. Gilmore Academy, obviously the 5 seed. If numbers play out and the favorites go, I think that they would obviously be in that district championship game, opposite of Edgewood if the chalk plays out. I think the top half of this district is a lot more interesting than the bottom. I think Gilmore is the clear-cut favorite to get out of this side of the district and get into the district championship game. I really don't see a team that can really challenge them down here. Even Glenville, I've been able to see them on tape a little bit. I don't think they have what it takes to take down Gilmore Academy. They're a very good basketball team this year. They have height, they have athleticism, they're long. Just would not sleep on the Lancers. And then, like I said, the top half of this district is a lot more interesting, I think, in my opinion. And Edgewood, Ursuline will both vie for a trip to the district. So then you go bottom, and you go Aurora's up here too. So 3 teams that I think have a legitimate chance of getting out of this side and getting to the district championship game. Down there, there's one clear-cut favorite. So that's interesting, and that's a good bracket, I think. And we have plenty of opportunities for our YSN teams to get a win down there. We will go to the next bracket in Division 2. I got to keep an eye on my time. I get lost in talking, you know me. So here we go. Top half of this bracket, which district is going to be held for this one in Nordonia High School in Macedonia. The first line is going to be the Bard Early College. They get a bye as a 63 seed. They're awaiting the 10 seed, which is Laurel against Bedford. And Laurel is a very good basketball team. We saw what they did in Division 3 last year. Maybe not as talented as last year, but still very dominant, formidable. Maybe a little bit lower as a 10 seed if everyone's being honest with themselves. But it's RPI. You can't argue with it this time. So Laurel will definitely get the win there, and they have clear cut. They have a run for the district semifinal. Nothing stopping them there. Field, another learning center, Canton South, and West Geauga round out the other half of this district. If I had to pick one, West Geauga is the one with the pedigree. I think they're going to be the ones that comes out of this into the district semis. We go to the bottom half of the district. Lutheran West has the bye. They are waiting the winner of Chagrin Falls and Cloverleaf. You look at this and numbers wise, Chagrin Falls is the best, but um, Lutheran West is a pretty good basketball team. I think that'd be interesting if Lutheran West plays Chagrin Falls in the sectional final. And last but not least, here's where we hit our YSN teams. Hubbard has the bye. They await the winner of West Branch and Coventry. And I think that this district, and this is no disrespect to the other teams in it, I think this is just a train that's barreling towards Laurel versus West Branch. Laurel versus West Branch, which would be the district championship that I think all the basketball fans want to see. They want to see West Branch's defense try to go and stop a couple of D1 caliber players. Laurel is very good, and West Branch has hung their head on defense all year. So I think this district is pretty much a freight train, heading towards West Branch versus Laurel in the championship. I don't think too many other teams are going to really be able to withstand those two. And that district championship would be in Nordonia, by the way. We said that at the top. So let's go to the next bracket and see what we have in the third Division II bracket in Northeast, which will be the West bracket, Northeast 3. This district is going to be held in Uniontown Lake. The West Branch, their last district championship was won in Uniontown Lake over Marlington a couple of years ago. And let's look at what we got here in the top half of the bracket. It's Lincoln West. They're awaiting the winner of Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary, the 1 seed, and Cleveland Shaw. I don't think this is a shocker to say. Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary is getting to the championship. They're getting out of this sectional. I think the only thing to wonder is who's going to meet them in the district semis. And you look down here, it's actually pretty interesting. A Marlington team that has had a down year to their standards, but still very formidable. Youngstown East, who's been playing hard, always plays hard for Tanisha Franklin. And a Girard team that was one game away from winning the NE8 championship and taking it from Poland. They lost to the Bulldogs in that clinching game on a buzzer beater. So Girard's a very good team. They're the 21 seed. And if numbers play out, they're the ones that are supposed to be winning this sectional. But I think it's going to be between Girard and Marlington. And I don't know if Girard, if they don't let Chelsea Evanich go off, I think they can win that game. And I think Mackenzie White does a pretty good job in the post, but he is giving up size to Evanich. Most people do. So it'll be really interesting if those two teams meet up in a sectional semifinal, if they'll be able to have the size to slow down Chelsea Evanich. You're not going to stop her. But if you can not let her go off for 25, 30 points, I think you should be okay. But she's done that quite a few times in her career, and especially in tournament play. She's going to be a senior. She's going to be motivated. She doesn't want to see her career end. So I would be very, very interested to see Girard and Marlington in that sectional final right there. And then the winner would have to deal with Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary. I mean, that's your prize for winning a sectional. Good luck with that. The 1 seed St. V is very, very good. Bottom of the bracket, we have Perry. They await the winners of Struthers and Salem. I'm actually really interested in this sectional semifinal because it's two teams that started out the season not great, but really came on the second half of the season. So two teams trending in the right direction, but only one can win. That's always fun to watch. Riley Hutton is playing so well right now. She just scored 23 against Austin Town Fitch, 7 rebounds. You got Reese, Davidson, Chuck starting to really be consistent. Lauren Barton is obviously a great defender and can score from the perimeter. I think Salem's starting to find an identity on offense. They lost a little bit of identity, right? Because they lost so many good seniors. And I think they're starting to find what makes them good and what they can do really well and then focusing on that. It took them a little bit to get there, but now they are there. And then on Struthers' side, I can't explain it, right? They lost one of their best players. Actually, I would say their best player in Caitlin Kimball. and then they started to play better. They rallied around themselves. They didn't put their heads down and say, well, you know what, we already have a bad record. We lost Caitlin Kimball. Let's just, pack it in. No, this team got better. They got so much better. I think they just had this rally call, and they started to play to their potential. Emma Morris has been really, really good. I'm really impressed with the freshman Gianna Martin and the way that she's been able to play for the Wildcats in the second half of the season. This is going to be a big test. And I think if it was in the field house, it would be much better for Struthers, but it won't be in the field house. It'll be in Salem. The field house is one of those few high school gyms that gives you a home court advantage because the depth really throws people off. You're way off the baseline. There's so much room between the wall and the hoop. It's hard to go down and shoot there. But it will be in Salem. So home court advantage goes to the Quakers. Their crowd always shows up for Salem. It's going to be a tough environment for Struthers. It's going to be interesting. I think Salem has the better roster. Both these teams have still the tendency to be inconsistent. So you can't, just say, hey, Salem's the clear favorite. But if I had to pick, I would probably lean a little bit towards Salem to win this game. But it will be a very good sectional semifinal between the Quakers and the Wildcats. And the winner is going to play Perry, who is not the same Perry that we're always seeing, but still good. Can't be slept on. But they're not the dominant team that they were, a couple of years ago, even last year when they won the conference. They a little bit of luster lost on that Perry armor. Bottom half of this district, we have Cleveland Central Catholic. They have the bye. They are the 54 seed. They await the winner of Brookside and Canfield. Obviously, this is Canfield's chance to make a deep run, right? They're the favorites to get to at least a district championship game. They went to regionals last year. Now, I know they would have to beat the number 1 seed in St. Vincent and St. Mary to get through this district. Like, I don't think anyone is going to argue me in saying St. V's will be in this district championship game. Canfield's got to get there, but you look at the team standing in their way. The highest seed is the 14 Perry. But like I said, Perry is just not the same Perry that we've seen throughout the years. They're still good. No harm to the Pirates. They're still good. But they're not the team that beat Salem a couple of years ago out of the tournament. They're not the team that won the conference last year. They lost a little bit, just a little bit of a step. And that could open the door a little bit for Canfield. So, I'm not convinced that if Salem wins, they couldn't beat Perry. To be honest, I think that speed of Salem would give Perry a little bit of matchup problems. So you look at Canfield; they're the favorites in this bottom half of the district to get to the championship. But if they got there, they would have to pull off an upset over a very good St. Mary's team. But the one thing that gives me hope a little bit for Canfield is they do play really good defense, and they do have shooters that can go off and get hot. And when that happens, no matter who you are, you're tough to defend. You can't defend hot shooting. So Canfield has a chance. They do. They're gonna have to have a really good game if they end up meeting St. V's, which I don't see a way they don't. I don't see anyone that's going to beat St. V's out of that half of the district. Let's go to the fourth bracket in Division 2. Northeast 4. This one going to be held in Elyria. And at the top end of the bracket, you have Geneva getting the bye. We've seen them multiple times in the YSN family. They have a strong team. They're winning the winner of Berkshire and Conneaut. That game happening in Conneaut. The Spartans are the 28th seed. Putting together a really under-the-radar, pretty impressive season for the Conneaut Spartans. I think they're going to get the win in the sectional semis and go right into Geneva. Geneva's a tough nugget to crack, though. We'll go from the next one, which is Cleveland Max's Hayes. They will go up against Talmadge. Talmadge is legitimate. I think they're one of the favorites in this sectional, of course. Ravenna on the bottom against Howland. Wouldn't be shocked at all if we see Howland versus Talmadge. I think that would be a very good matchup. Howland's been good all year. They have a good schedule. They play in a tough conference. Things are lined up for them to get out of the sectional. But I think that you can't sleep on Talmadge. So That'd be a very interesting sectional, Talmadge versus Howland, if it works out that way, which if the numbers do, then that's where it will go. We go to the bottom half of the district. It is Woodridge getting the bye. It is the Firelands against Bay Village Bay. And then on the bottom half of the district, you have another learning center. There's a lot of learning centers in Division 2. They'll get Buckeye against Copley. So no YSN teams in the bottom half of the bracket. We're just really looking towards Howland and seeing what they can do in the sectional. And then obviously Conneaut up there too, a YSN team. But if numbers play out, we'll see Geneva versus Howland in the district semis. And I think Howland has an advantage in that matchup, especially the way Masucci has been playing all year. Listen, Masucci, hard to stop. And if you really look at Howland's prospects down here, I mean, the best team they're going to play is going to be Copley, who's obviously very, very good. If numbers play out, it'll be Copley Howland in the district championship game. And that's obviously Copley's a 2 seed for a reason. Last one. This district is going to be held in Normandy, not the beach in France, thankfully. We go to the top end of the bracket. Niles is going to be there. They will wait the winner of Streetsboro, who we just saw against Canfield over the weekend, against East Tech. Streetsboro, I saw them. They're legitimate. They're going to run through this sectional, probably the height of Naomi. Benson. I'm almost blanked on her last name. The height of Naomi Benson is no joke at all. Elyria Catholic can probably give them a fight if they get to the district semifinals. We go to the bottom half of this bracket. This is where a team like Streetsboro is going to have a fight because Canal Full Northwest is in the top. And then you see, look at that 7 seed down there. CVCA, that's a tough team. They'll probably make a district semi easily. And then down here, you have a good Norton team as well. And you have Baymont down there. So this is actually a really tough district. Streetsboro is the 9 seed. I believe that's the highest seed. Well, 7, no. So CVCA is a little bit higher at 7. So we're going to see how that goes. If numbers play out, it'll be CVCA against Streetsboro. I just saw Streetsboro live. I'm not going to bet against them. They're really tough to defend with Naomi Benson, a D1 caliber post player, running the paint. So that's Division 2 for you. Remember, if Canfield and Streetsboro both win a district, we'll see a rematch of a game that just got played, a game that Canfield was in control of for most of it, but then faltered late. Let's see. Let's check the time. See how much Anthony's been talking. It is time for a commercial break. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one. When we come back, we do owe a player profile. We'll get into that, and then we'll hop back into the brackets. All on Running Point, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Anthony Hartwig here with you. We have a Canfield basketball player profile. It is junior Ben Weaver joining us, number one, for a reason. Ben, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. I mean, this Canfield season has been an absolute ride for you guys. You're officially back-to-back AAC champions. Congratulations on that. Take us through this year. First year as an upperclassman. You know, I'm sure you're asked to be a much bigger leader this year. What's it been like for you?
It's been great, man. I mean, since last year, the whole we've got so much more chemistry now. And now we're all older, we're more strong, and all of us are just better leaders. So we started to come together this year, especially later in the season, big JFK win. And we're just getting ready for tournament time.
You needed that leadership to start. This team started off losing the first two games, and there was something that happened, whether it was in the locker room, in the practice. I don't know what it was exactly. But after that one, it just seemed like you guys won like 9 or 10 in a row against really good teams. We're finding a way in overtime against West Branch, et cetera, et cetera. What was it like to just see the team just make that complete switch and turn it on after a tough start?
Well, I mean, we knew we were a great team the whole time. We knew those were two tough teams. You know, we already knew they were going to be tough going into it. Unfortunately, we lost them both, but practices picked up, coaches got on us. We got some of the best coaching staff in Ohio, and we really just turned things around. We picked up practices, and then we knew that we couldn't drop any more games from then on. So,
you talked about it a little bit in your first answer, but we brought it up before. As a junior, you have more put on your shoulder this year. You're asked to do more. You're asked to lead more. What has it been like, to kind of get yourself ready for next year when you're going to be a senior leader?
Well, Tony Russo and Dom Cruz and Sam, they're three of the good seniors on our team. They're really good, and they're great leaders too. So they kind of, especially Tony Russo, he kind of just mentors me. I see what he does being a leader, and I try right now to be a leader to some of the younger guys because we have a few sophomores that play some varsity. So I try to do what he does to me, to them, and it's really just going to help me for next year when the other seniors got to just lead the team.
I'll tell you what, the thing about this Canfield team, I would not envy the people that have to make a game plan to defend it because you can attack in so many different ways. You can go down low. You have Dom that can hit from anywhere. Sam can hit from anywhere. Russo can hit from anywhere. I mean, like, just the amount of kids on this team that can hurt you. What's it like to be on an offense like that where, you can be a different guy every night?
Well, it's great because you don't got a lot of pressure on your shoulders to put up 20 a game because, I mean, any given night, any one of the starting five could give you 20. And then even off the bench with Ray and Shaina and Bryce, I mean, they can give you 15 a night too. So there's just a lot less pressure on you. And you know that no matter what game, someone's going to have to step up, and everyone just averages out over the season. So it's really nice playing with all these guys.
To have a team like that, there can be no egos on that floor. I mean, you have to have everyone locked into whatever that needs to happen that night. If it needs to be Dom Cruz going off because they're leaving him, great. If it needs to be Sam or it needs to be Russo or it needs to be someone off the bench, but everyone buys into that. Talk about why this team is so good at being able to do that and what has made it so easy to stay away from the egos.
Well, I mean, we're all good kids off the court, I would say. So, I mean, we all got great parents, and we know, I mean, you can't really be cocky, especially on a team like this. So, I mean, especially Coach Vlahovic, he always tells us that we can't have an ego because that could ruin up the whole chemistry. And if we want to be a good team and make it far in this tournament, the only way we can do that is with chemistry. So we just drop the ego, play together, and we just win basketball games.
No ego on this team, but supreme confidence, especially in your perimeter shooters. What do you think it is that lets them balance that line? Because it is a line. You can be really confident, but you can't step over the line and be egotistical. What is so special about your shooters that helps them do that?
Well, some of them to start off the season weren't shooting great, and with a team like this, we had guys getting in practice 2 hours before. We got guys staying after practice. Everyone gets their shots up, and when they hit a shot, they know they deserve it. If they miss, they know they deserve the spot to be shooting it. And when you got guys like Cruz shooting 40% from three, hitting volleyball line shots, I mean, you got to be confident, but we all know not to get too confident, and that's just what makes us great.
I already talked to Dom Cruz. I told him trying to stop him is Mission Impossible. There's a reason that he's Dom Cruz on the court, Let's talk about you inside the paint, maybe not the perimeter shots from the volleyball line for you, but you get to do work in the box and you get to play above the rim, which also means you have to deal with a lot of physical play from a lot of big teams this year. What's that been like for you?
Well, it's been kind of a change because, last year we had 6'7" Jake Schneider, and when he went down with an injury, I knew I was going to have to be the main big guy on the team. So it kind of shifted my offense a little bit because I got to play a lot more inside because a lot of times it's a mismatch for me. So it's a great opportunity, but defense is the tough part because we end up playing some big teams. I always got to guard that big guy, and it gets physical down there, man. It's just how it is, but I don't mind it. I like playing both.
What are some of your game plans when you know you're going up against a real big guy to kind of counter that and to use maybe some things that maybe you have that he doesn't to counter the height that maybe he'll have on you?
Well, if we're going against a really big kid, my coaches and we all notice it. First thing we do is we just pull me out to the perimeter because I'm pretty confident I can just get by the guy because normally if they're bigger, they're normally slower. But for me, I think I'm pretty versatile that I'll take them out to the perimeter. If they don't want to guard me, I'll shoot. And then if they come guard me, I'll just take it to them. So
we're talking about the chemistry on this team. What are some things off the court that this team does to build such tight-knit bonds and to have such tight-knit chemistry?
Well, we got team dinners every Thursday before a game, and that really brings us, the cheerleaders, the coaches, it brings everyone together. But off the court, I mean, every single person on this team is best friends. So we go out to eat after practices. We're all together in classes and in school, and we're all texting each other all the time. We're all best friends, and I think that's different than a lot of teams because we're all good friends off the court, and then on the court, we know when to have to pick each other up to yell at each other. But at the end of the day, we're all good friends. That really brings our chemistry together.
Who's the guy that on the team that you think keeps everyone accountable the most? Is that guy that can take that line and say, hey, we got to pick you up. We got to get you in the right position. You don't want to say yell, but, have a stern talking to you every now and then. Who's the guy that's amped up to do that the most, do you think?
Hello?
We still got you?
Yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out real quick. Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, we'll get you. So, you're talking about, guys that sometimes have to step across that line and keep people accountable and to not yell, but maybe, get someone in line a little bit. What teammates do you think are the most, prone to be able to be that guy that's able to do that inside the lines of the basketball court?
For sure, I'm gonna have to go with Tony Russo and Drew Shapiro. Those are our 2 point guards, and if you mess up, they're not afraid to let you know. And they'll yell at you, but at the end of the day, we know we're friends. And then if it goes too far, they'll apologize. But Tony and Drew are always making sure everyone's in check, making sure you're in the right position, make sure you're doing what you're doing. So Tony and Drew are great leaders, and they're always keeping everyone in check.
I know your Wi-Fi went out. We're stuck with your hand, but we can hear you pretty good. So we'll keep going, hoping that the video catches up with the audio. But as we keep going, the next question for you is about your schoolwork, man. We got to ask about what you do in the classroom and how junior year has been, because it's that step up not just on the court, but also in the classroom. Teachers start taking things a little bit more seriously when you go into junior year. You're starting to think about college in the future. What has junior year in the classroom been like for you?
It's been good. I've never been the biggest fan of school, but I'm still I'm in the CCP and AP classes. I'm always taking hard classes. But thing is, I'm always with my friends in my class, so I end up having a good time. But it's definitely been challenging, just like education wise. There's more you have to learn, and the classes just get harder and harder, but it's been good.
I like that you're honest. Like, it's not school is not everyone's cup of tea, right? But you keep pushing yourself. You keep putting yourself in hard classes. You stay driven in the classroom. What gives you that drive and motivation to keep doing it in things that maybe you really don't want to do?
Well, for me, I've always wanted to play college basketball my whole life. And after talking to a lot of college coaches and going to camps, a lot of the things, unless it's D1, but a lot of times for D2 and D3 schools like that, they're not just looking for a good player, they're looking for a good student in the classroom. So when I'm in class zoning out, I just think about, man, I got to keep my grades high if I want to get recruited and get these colleges looking at me. So that's really the biggest motivator for me.
What's the favorite subject? What's one that I don't want to say is easy, because the classes you take obviously probably aren't ever easy, but what's the one that comes maybe the most natural to you?
Naturally, I'm probably the best at math. I don't actually like math, but it just comes easier to me. But I'm not a fan of science or history very much, but math definitely comes the easiest.
Are there any teachers that along the way in your career at Canfield that have really guided you and helped you a lot in their class, or maybe a different class as well?
Yeah, Mr. Hurdley, he's a football coach on our team. I took his geometry class freshman year, and he was always a good teacher, helping everyone through. And that was a good class to get high school started with for math. He was really helpful.
Let's talk about the basketball atmosphere in the school on both sides. You look at the girls, they're having a great season. They have great athletes. You guys do as well. And it's been like that for the last couple of years. What's it like to just be a part of a basketball community in Canfield? You get support on both sides. You have boys, girls, double headers. You get the band, you get the cheerleaders. What's it like to be a part of a school that loves basketball as much as Canfield does?
It's honestly, it's great. You couldn't ask for anything better. I mean, at every game we got students showing up. The principals are there, the band's there, all the parents are there. And then we got a lot of pep assemblies and stuff during the school to just get the students rattled up for football and basketball games. And we got cookouts and stuff like that. So everyone just comes together. Everyone loves basketball. It's honestly amazing.
One thing we have to ask before the end of this interview is the coach that you're under is a legend, right? Coach Cullen.
Yeah.
There's a reason they're probably going to name the whole gym after him at some point. There might even be a Coach Cullen statue outside of the gym. When it's all said and done, what's it like to be under him and to see that he comes back to Canfield after, a short retirement, and comes back to Canfield because he wants to finish his career at Canfield? What's that been like for you to be under Coach Cullen?
Well, it's been a fantastic experience. He is bar none the smartest basketball guy I've ever met in my life. You could shoot a shot and he'll tell you what angle the ball is at and how many degrees you need to fix it. It's honestly ridiculous. And he's always helped me ever since he's been here as a player individually, tell me what I need to do. And that he loves everyone on the team. He's always trying to better everyone. He'll get on you if you have to, but he's such a good coach, and it's honestly amazing that he came here. This is probably going to be his last year, so I hope we can take him pretty far, maybe state, but it's honestly been amazing. He's a fantastic coach. Couldn't ask for anything better.
What's one statement or philosophy or thing that is just classic Coach Cullen that is always going to be a staple and a backbone to his coaching?
Oh, that's a good one. Every day in practice, he's got a POE, which is a point of emphasis. So every day he'll give us like a little one-liner of something we need to focus on. But one that he always likes to talk about is probably just, probably just try to better yourself every day, and whatever you just try to make yourself 1% better every single day. That's probably got to be the main one.
Watching his teams over the years, I thought it might be like defense.
Yeah,
go
big
and
defense.
destroy everybody, because that's the kind of defense he loves to play. I mean,
Yeah.
whether it be Canfield, his first run when he was at South Ranger, now back at Canfield, and you always know this team's probably going to allow maybe 50 points if they're lucky. Defense is just awesome everywhere he goes. Ben, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to take the spotlight off of yourself for a minute and shine it on your support system, the people in your life that you wouldn't be where you are without. I want you to give thanks to whoever you want to give, and I'm going to give you time to do it.
Obviously, I got to start with both my parents. I obviously couldn't be here without them. I mean, they gave me everything to get here within training, getting out AAU teams and everything. So them for sure. And then the one other person I would like to thank is my papa. He was my best friend my whole life. He was my biggest fan. He's always been a basketball guy. He actually passed last week, so I'm playing the rest of the season for him.
Ben, we are saddened to hear that. We definitely sorry for your loss, my man, but that's no better motivation for the rest of the season than knowing that, right? I mean, man, carry on for him. Go all the way to state, buddy. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it so much. We wish you the best of luck, and we will talk to you again real soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ben Weaver from Canfield. You got to thank him for his time, because obviously a busy guy. He actually hopped on after practice late at night on Wednesday. So thank him for his time. And funny part of that interview was, like, you probably noticed midway through, he went to adjust his camera and it like froze right on his hand. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, okay, like if this lasts for much longer, we're gonna have to stop and restart and do another link, because there's no stop recording and then restart recording on StreamYard. So you'd have to stop it and then redo a whole nother interview, or just wait it out and end it. So I was like, man, but then luckily it unfroze after like one question. I was like, let's go. But what a conversation with Ben Weaver. He's going to be a great senior next year, but I know before he even gets there, he's focused on a deep tournament run. Back-to-back AAC champions for Canfield, and I can't wait to see where they go. Let's hop back into the scoreboard. Or not the scoreboard, but the brackets. I want to get through Division 3. We can probably move Division 4 to tomorrow. I think me and Scotty will have enough time to talk about Division 4 tomorrow, but I do want to try to get through as much of Division 3 as possible today before we head out of here. First Division 3 district is going to be held in Lakeview. It is Northeast 1, and it looks like this. Top half of the district, you see a bye from Lake Ridge Academy. They are awaiting the winner of Crestview, who is the 3 seed, against Andrews Osborne. Crestview's the 3 seed. I mean, they have a smooth pass to the district semifinal. Bottom half of the district, though, gets a little bit dicey because they have Columbia, the 7 seed, down there. They have the 13 Tuslaw and the 35 Mineral Lake Catholic. So Tuslaw will go up against Columbia. That'll be a good game in the district semifinals. District sectional finals, I should say. Crestview will probably get the districts, but who they play, toss up between Tuslaw and Columbia. But either way, that's going to be a really tough district semifinal alone for Crestview. But then let's look at the bottom half of this bracket, where you have Camel with a bye, but they have to wait the winner of Keystone, who's undefeated in the 2 seed. They play Liberty. They're gonna get their way into district semis. And then at the bottom, you have Orville against Lakeview, and bottom there, Rootstown, who's the 4. So if numbers play out, you'd have the 2 versus the 4 in a district semifinal, and the 3 versus the 7. Because of people wanting to get out of the way of Warrensville Heights, the 1 seed, this district has gotten very competitive. People just picked. Would they rather go into the bracket with Crestview and Keystone or Warrensville Heights? And honestly, they picked Crestview and Keystone. No one wants to. No one wants to touch the 1 seed right now in Warrensville Heights. And one of the teams that I think could actually, contend with them is Waynedale. Waynedale, Chippewa, and Warrensville Heights have played each other this season. They've all been good games. They're all competitive with each other. But now they're coming down into our bracket. And remember, those are teams that you would always see in regionals. You wouldn't have to see them until you won a district in years past. But because this year, with the RPIs, they've moved to a Supreme District, is what I'm calling it. You're going to see all these teams that are very likely to be in our district. And Keystone in here, along with Rootstown and Columbia and Maslin Tuslaw. I mean, it's a who's who of who doesn't want to go up against Warrensville Heights. So it's a very tough district for Crestview. If they win it, they'll definitely earn it. You cannot say this is an easy road for the Rebels. Maybe the first 2 games, maybe the sectionals when they're playing teams that are way higher seeds than them. But once they get the district semis, that's when things get really real in that district. Second Division 3 bracket is Northeast 2. This district's going to be played in Struthers, the Fieldhouse. Best place for a tournament game, hands down. I don't mind citing bias. I don't think a lot of people agree with me there. We will start with the top of the bracket as Grand Valley. We had a really good season. They have the 15 seed. They are conference champions. They await the winner of Trinity and Brookfield. Brookfield. They have to be kind of upset with this draw. I mean, they're the 15, and they might have to play the 17 in their first round game. I mean, you see the 15s and all the other districts with a little bit favorable matchups, but Grand Valley going to have a tough sectional final off the jump, assuming that Brookfield doesn't pull off an upset, which with Katie Wellman, I don't count out anything with her ability to go get doubles. Garrettsville Garfield has a bye in the bottom, and then we have Apple Creek Waynedale down there. They're probably the favorite in this district as a 6th seed. They're a regional powerhouse. They've been in plenty of regionals. They've won plenty of regionals in the last 5 years. They're right there. They got the 6th seed, but they could be top 4 easy. They're that caliber. You go to the bottom, you have Columbiana, the 10. They're waiting the winner of Champion Mooney. I really like this semifinal. Champion versus Mooney. Mooney's kind of been a hit and miss. They've been inconsistent, but if the right Mooney shows up and that defense keeps Champion in check, this could be a very good game. Champion is a zone team, which means Sam Rotuno would have to have a big day and hit open jump shots on the perimeter for them to have a chance, because I don't think Champion's going to allow driving from Huff and DiOrio. They're going to be locked into that zone. So they're going to have to hit their open shots from Pregabon and Rotuno, maybe even get DiOrio off the ball and try to get her open looks from 3 as well. On Champion side, it's the same thing. They thrive on shooting. They have more shooters than Mooney does. They have more people that can go out there and hit a 3. I think the key factor in this game, though, might be the battle inside. Carly Easterday will have an advantage. Will have a sized advantage over Cardinal Mooney. So can they use that? Can they not fall in love with the outside shot? Make sure to get it inside. Try to make sure to use their size with Easterday. I think she could have a very big game if Champion executes the game plan the right way. So that'll be a really interesting sectional semifinal, and the winner goes to Columbiana, and I think that would be good too. That'd be good because Columbiana, thriving with these good games. They've upped their schedule a little bit in the non-conference this year, but they still don't have a lot of tests. They don't have a lot of games where they've had to been tested this year. So if they go up against a team that plays, Champion plays Crestview twice, LeBray twice, Mooney's had a huge schedule this year, it'd be really interesting to see Columbiana go up against either one of those teams. Bottom half of the district, Middle Ridge, who is put on a show this year. Just 2 losses on the season. MVAC Scarlet Tier champions sharing it with Springfield. They await the winner of Triway, the Titans, who are a softball powerhouse but have stepped up a lot in the basketball court this year. Yeah, they are going to play Hillsdale. So all things point to Triway moving into that sectional final against Mineral Ridge. I think they're the favorites there. That would be a really interesting matchup that we never get to see. Triway usually once again a regional team, never been in our district, and now they are. So now they could be traveling to Mineral Ridge. It's a long road trip from Wooster to Mineral Ridge if they win. It's also a long trip to Struthers if they get into the district. Kind of surprised that they picked the Struthers district. It's a 12 seed. Thought they might would have want to go on a little bit closer to Wooster, but you get closer to Wooster and you also get closer to the 1 seed in Warrensville Heights, which I'm sure Triway didn't want any part of. North Ridgeville is the next district, and this is where you see Warrensville Heights pop up. They're the 1 seed. They have the bye as the 1 seed. They will play in the sectional final. They await the winner of Mapleton and Salem Northwestern. Salem Northwestern, a team with a lot of winning athletes that know how to win. That's for sure. I'm not sleeping on Salem Northwestern at all. But Warrensville Heights is on a huge different level, so they're probably the favorites. The next sectional final is already set. So on Saturday, Poland will travel to Pymatuning Valley, 22 versus 21. And this is going to be interesting because Pie Valley does score a lot. They average about 57 points per game. They're a high-flying offense. Poland built with their defense. They need to win with defense. So strength versus strength. Who's going to step up? That's going to be fun to watch. Other half of the bracket, Cuyahoga Heights against Wellington and Black River, the winner they're waiting for in Cuyahoga Heights. And then the bottom, we have the Kirtland Hornets. They await the winner of LeBray and Norway. I think that's actually a really interesting sectional semifinal as well between the Vikings and Norway. 14 versus 23. Vikings have had a tough schedule as well, but they really did not stand up tall against a team like Crestview. So it'll be interesting to see how they match up with Norway come to town. Winner gets Kirtland, and if LeBray wins, it'll be a home game. Actually, no matter what, Kirtland will be on the road as the 24 seed because Norway is 23. So the winner of that game will have a home game against Kirtland, and we hope it's LeBray. We hope LeBray gets 2 home games on their way to districts. The favorite in this bottom half of the district, you probably would lean towards Cuyahoga Heights. But if the numbers play out, it'll be LeBray versus them in the district semifinal. One last district to get to before we get out of here today. Last district in Division 3. We'll handle Division 4 tomorrow. And here we go. Division 3 finale. We have Brooklyn. They have the bye. They will play the winner of Doylestown, Chippewa, and Manchester. Kind of like Crestview, this is Chippewa's sectional hands down. They'll have no problem there. The Fairless and Southeast game already set up. Bottom, we have Smithville with the bye. They await the winner of Wycliffe and Independence. Smithville versus Wycliffe would actually be kind of interesting, but I think Smithville and the size of their school, the size of their schedule, they would have a clear advantage there. And then South Range has the bye. They await the winner of United and Villa Anna St. Joe's. Villa Anna St. Joe's is one of those sneaky teams, plays over up schedule. So they could be a good team with a poor record. United has to be careful there. If United wins, it'll be a home game for for United. But if VASJ wins, it will go to South Range. Even though the bracket, here on the website, I assume this is a typo because I don't know a reason why United wouldn't be able to host on Saturday. The bracket says this game's at South Range no matter what. But I don't think that's true. That could be. But if United wins, they're the high seed. So they have the right to host. So unless there's something that is stopping United from hosting that sectional final, I would assume the bracket is just incorrect in that, which they've been before on the sites. This district, by the way, gonna be in Worcester, which I believe Worcester City School. So it's not Triway, but it's in the same area. So that's why I'm really surprised Triway didn't go here. Because I think Triway would have a pretty good chance in this bracket. You look at it, yeah, they'd have to deal with Chippewa. Chippewa is a very good team. But outside of Chippewa for Triway, you have Smithville. I think they'd have a much better chance in this bracket, and they wouldn't have to go all the way to Struthers. So kind of interesting. Triway picked the road trips. They'll go to Middle Ridge if they win their first round game, and they have to go to Struthers for districts. That does it for Division 3, though. We want to get out of here and set the tone for Power Hour coming up from 3 to 4 in a little bit. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I know that was a lot of meat to chew on. Tomorrow we have Wrestling Wednesday with Gary Altizer and Scotty. We have a special guest. We will announce it before the show, and we will also talk about Division 4 on tomorrow's show as well. There are plenty of games on the network tonight. Make sure to check it out. Our schedule, ysnlive.com/live. Thank you so much for tuning in today from Running Point, brought to you by